The race to 5G is on, and the battle for talent is getting fierce. Welcome to 5G Talent Talk with Carrie Charles, a podcast dedicated to helping you face the future workforce head on. Navigate this challenging talent landscape with innovative strategies to attract, retain, and engage people in this new world of work. Only here on 5G Talent Talk with Carrie Charles, CEO of Broadstaff Talent Solutions.
Hello, friends, and welcome to 5G Talent Talk. I'm your host, Carrie Charles, and we have an exciting episode today. Two of my friends in the industry who are the founders of a company called Helicore. Kevin Russ, who is the chairman and CEO, and Josh Dotson, who is the vice president of corporate development for Helicore. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today on 5G Talent Talk.
It's a pleasure, Carrie.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Great. We've known each other for a while, and I remember when you started Helicore, and just such an exciting story and journey. Can you tell me a little bit about how Helicore was born, the vision, and the story behind the company?
Well, I guess I'll start off. It begins a little bit with my history. So I've been in telecom for almost 20 years now, but before that, I used to design and build ski lifts, aerial tramways. And so I'm an old foundation guy, putting foundations in places that would blow people's minds. And, that was actually, believe it or not, the birth of Helicore in a way was back in the ski industry in the mid 90s when I learned about, the technology that we're using.
Wow, that's so interesting. You always wonder in your life as as you go through life and you have different experiences and different careers, and you think, when am I ever going to use this again? Like, how is this all going to connect? And boy, did it connect for you, right?
Yeah, 25 some odd years later.
Oh my gosh. So Josh, what's your background and how did you come to get involved with Helicore?
Yeah, so Kevin and I met, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And I was in the locating industry. So if anyone is in the A&E or SIDAC world listening to this, they know that 811 is typically not enough for what we're doing. So that's how I met Kevin a couple years ago. And just through industry events and speaking on panels together, we got closer and closer and kept talking about this. And from some of the projects we did together, he realized the accuracy of what's out there and the knowledge that some people have. And that's really where we put this whole thing together.
A match made in heaven, for sure. So tell me about Helicore. Tell me about the company, the service, what product, what problem does it solve? Yeah,
Helicore is a patented foundation solution that allows streetlight replacements for 5G or 4G poles, even your normal streetlights, to be completed in one day in the same exact location as the original, while also giving you a flexibility in the field to work around whatever challenges may arise during construction. So it's really the one size fits all.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Kevin? Like a little bit, like why was this so important and such a need in our industry?
Well, so it solves a major problem for municipalities, because with the way that things are currently done with concrete, the municipalities really only have two choices. They can put a new foundation in next to it so that they can keep the street light on so that they don't have lights out, which is a safety issue. But then that alters their streetscape. So the poles are not evenly spaced and everything. Or the other choice that the municipalities have is to keep it in the same location, but then have lights out for an extended period of time, because concrete takes time to cure, and it's a multi-day process versus a one-day process that we can do, and keep it in the same location and have the light back up that night.
So let's, I want to talk a little bit more about small cells and back up a bit for those people that are listening that may not really have the experience with small cells. Give an explanation of what small cells are and their role in the deployment of 5G. And also, how many small cells are going to be deployed in the next 5 to 7 years?
Okay, well, small cells are, I mean, the best way is that they're used for 4G for densification and 5G to actually, they go on wooden utility poles. And then in areas where there aren't wooden utility poles, they have to use the street lights to put them on, because for the real 5G that you keep hearing about on the commercials and the advertisements, these are on every street corner. They just, the end user and the bandwidth that's involved with it requires them to be not on your typical monopole that you see cell site. They're going to be down on the street, right where the people are. And right. So that's why, I mean, our problem, our product solves the problem in areas where streetlights have to be replaced. Now, in areas where there's wooden utility poles, it makes more sense to use those. So we don't solve every problem, but we solve a lot of problems.
Right. They're just like the typical business, right? I mean, you're very focused on what you do, and you do it very, very well. And what's the need out there, Josh? I mean, how many small cells are going to need to be deployed in the next, 5 years or so? And what do you think?
Yeah, we did a lot of research, early last year to see what the real market size is. And we used a lot of channels, talked to a lot of people. And from what we've come up with, it's far into the millions. Now, that's a mixture of streetlights and wood utility poles, like Kevin mentioned, and even rooftops. But when you think about every urban environment in the country, you've got ballparks, shopping malls, schools, downtown events. I mean, the streetlights are there. You can see them. Every city you walk through, the assets are there. We just need to use them. So it's far into the millions.
Wow. What are the challenges that, with deploying small cells for service providers, for municipalities? I mean, what are they facing right now?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of challenges, right? And they're different for every person. Every different task has a different challenge tied to it. So the main one I see, I guess, based on my background, is fitting something that's so rigid, like a concrete caisson, right, into a very densely congested right-of-way. Every downtown area, if your right-of-way is underground, you have water, sewer, gas, electric, fiber, everything, even old steam lines, and you name it. So having that flexibility in the field to work around those things on the fly allows that your build will get done when the sidewalk is opened up, not 2 months later.
Right.
Yeah. And then, I think that, that's for the service provider side. As far as municipalities, with a typical concrete foundation, you have to come in and dig a hole, you have to form it up, then you have concrete trucks coming in, then you have to wait for the concrete to cure. It becomes a multi-day process. And if there's hundreds going in an area, that can really upset residents. So the municipalities, they want the service, they know that they want it, but they want it to look good, and they want it done quick with minimal disruption. And that's what Helicore does.
So how fast can Helicore get, a small cell up, like deploy each one?
Oh, give away the secret sauce here. I think the fastest one we've done so far, Kevin, 3.5 hours?
Yeah. So, I mean, we say 1 to 2 days because normally you're repouring the concrete the next day, but the actual pole in most cases is standing in hours, not days. And that's from taking the street light down, putting in our system, and then putting the new pole up, and the light being back functional that evening. So it's very fast. It's, we talk about days, but the reality is it's hours. And we've seen, we partner with a lot of GCs around the country, and it's interesting to see once crews use our system, they don't want to ever do concrete.
I'm sure. And in the GCs, time is money, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. And
Faster
if
is
your
always
pole's
better.
standing, yeah, exactly. If your pole's standing the same day you built your foundation, your RF crew is mobilizing the next day, right? There's no delay. We really get that speed to market down by the efficiencies we can gain.
Well, and the other thing that I've heard back from a lot of construction managers is it really makes their life easier, because when they're pouring concrete, then they, once the foundation's in there, then they have to line up getting the pole stood up. So there's just, by using us, there's less coordination. It just makes everything go faster and easier, and just gets it done. And, I mean, and these are ballpark numbers, but to date, I want to say that there's about roughly 130,000 small cells that have been done. And if you think about going into the millions, things have to speed up, and concrete only cures fast.
Right. This is exciting. It's so cool to hear you talk about from where you were from the idea, right? I have an idea, and then everything that you've gone through, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let me ask you, so who are your customers, and what makes you different in the way that you do business?
Well, so our end customers are the carriers and CLECs. I can't really get into, but basically anybody that's building a small cell, or even municipalities that maintain their own streetlights. Those are our customers. But we actually, the way that we work is we work with our GC partners that work with the end customers. So we're easy to work with. We make it the easy button.
Easy and fast. I love it, Josh.
So yeah, I mean, the obvious one is the small cell play, right? All the carriers and people building small cells. But Kevin mentioned municipalities. We're working with a few right now that actually maintain their own streetlights. And for them, and this kind of blew my mind, cars hit streetlights all the time. And we call them knockdowns, right? And when that happens, the city has to come back out. And if you have a concrete foundation, your anchor bolts are tied into your concrete, that concrete breaks, you have to redo the whole foundation. So how many times are you going to do that, right? So we'll work with the municipality, supply them the materials, train their crew, and they can go out and build this. So the second time that pole gets hit, all they're doing is replacing bolts. They unscrew them, screw them back in, and stand back their pole up. So it's a new niche for us. We didn't think that could be there, but it.
Well, I have a confession to make. Okay. So I'm one of those people that hit a pole, and maybe you repaired it, possibly. So I have a true confessions here on 5G Talent Talk. No, that I get it. I so get it. So
it's funny say that, because I'll go back to high school, but my dad reminded me when we started Helicore and we were doing all this, that when I was in high school, I actually hit a light pole in our high school parking lot. And he laughed. He goes, "See, you were destined to be in light poles from that."
That's awesome. I love it. I
hate to be the only one, but I've never hit a light pole.
Oh, come on, Josh.
There's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow.
Exactly, right? Join the team, join the club. Yeah. So let's talk about this, back to the excitement around taking the idea from concept to reality. And I love to share this with the audience, because I'm sure people are listening thinking, oh, I have an idea. And how did they do this? How is it done? I mean, so many people have an idea, and many times you don't actually act on your idea as an entrepreneur, and then you see it, somebody else acts on it, and then it becomes, it gets sold for $100 million and you're kicking yourself. So what advice would you give to people that have an innovative idea and they want to bring it to market?
I would start off with persistence. That's just one thing. I mean, persistence, patience, having great partners is key. There were times when we were getting this going where it was difficult, and it's almost like you feel like you want to throw in the towel, but having a partner like Josh and keeping me up, and when he's down, I keep him up, and we just keep moving forward. And if you have something that solves a problem, then you just need to stick with it and get it out there and just, have a great network, work your network, talk to people, and just persistence.
Yeah, I agree. Be the problem solver, right? Like Kevin said, if you have something that fixes the pain points that that are out there, use it, and have your network use it, right? Make it benefit them.
Yep. What's interesting about your partnership too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like the two of you are yin and yang, right? So Kevin, you're strong. You each have different strengths. In other words, right? Am I right?
Correct. We definitely come.
Yeah. So when you're looking for a partner and looking for somebody to partner with, and I know this is right, within Broadstaff as well, that we're very different, the leaders, and we each bring something different to the table versus looking for someone who's exactly like you and, oh, this person's just like me, so they're going to be a perfect partner. Well, maybe not. You need someone that is different and has a different genius skill than you do, right?
Oh, absolutely correct.
Good. No.
Yeah. Kevin's the math guy. He's the one that can do all the engineering in his head. I'm the one that talks to people.
Got it. Yeah. Yep.
So he's way smarter than I am. We'll put that out there.
In different ways, Josh.
In different ways. You're right. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about the challenges that you've had to overcome. You started this business, I believe, in March of 2020, which was not the greatest time to start a business, right? And so talk about the challenges that you've been through a little bit more.
Yeah, it's funny because we started really March 1st of 2020. I flew to Chicago with Josh picked me up, and we had a meeting, and I flew back, and that was the last flight. Like 2 days, thing locked down, and it was, in a way, we at first, I don't know. I would say definitely we're scared. Like, what is this going to do to our business? But then, working together and looking for the positive, it really into a positive for us because we're able to get meetings, the number of meetings via Zoom and everything else, where we would have been flying around the country to go meet with folks. That's just the way the business was done before that, where, Josh can further explain, but, we had one customer where we had a Zoom meeting with their Northern Texas team and literally backed it up to a Zoom meeting with their Southern Texas team, where pre-COVID, that would have been 2 flights and days. So, it's given us the opportunity in the last year and a half to get probably, if we were to having to fly for every meeting, we'd probably be, 2-3 years down the road of where we are now.
Wow. That's an incredible silver lining. And Josh, on the sales side, on the people side, which is where you sit and your genius lies, then, and I know I've talked to so many people on business development and, for the past year, and they've said, how difficult it is and how challenging it is because they can't see people. And I love Kevin's perspective because it's so positive. And in your seat, having to grow this company from zero to where you are now, what have been the challenges on that business development side for you?
Yeah, it's always tough because face-to-face, there's no replacement for it, right? You need to network with people. You need to read body language. You need to set that personal relationship. And it's difficult to do over Zoom or Teams or whatever you're using. But like Kevin said, find the positive. You have to make it work. What's the alternative, right? You throw in the towel because you can't go see someone? Well, no, we're going to make it work. So, yeah, we made it personal. We lined up meetings as the customers wanted to, and I think he's right. We're years ahead of where we would have been, because I'm used to the flights, I'm used to the hotels, I'm used to all that. But we made it work.
I love that. Love that. So inspiring. So let's talk about the future. I mean, you've come so far. I mean, my goodness, it's been a little over a year. It's just unbelievable how far you've come. But I know that you have big goals and big dreams for the future. So what is happening now, and where will Helicore be in 5 years?
Well, I mean, my goal is that we're the standard way to replace streetlights throughout the industry. And we're getting there, but I would like everyone to be done our way. Do I think that will actually happen? I think we'll get close, but I mean, we're never going to replace concrete. Concrete is there, and if it just depending on the area, and if they know that there's not utilities, I'd like to become the standard. I mean, Josh, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And to double back to the municipalities, these cities that are maintaining their own streetlights, if all these crews are on staff of the city, right? So they're being paid regardless. So let's all work together to make this happen, right? And Kevin hit on this earlier. If millions are needed, and there's only been, let's say, under 150,000 small cells built today, how are we going to get there? Is this going to take 20 years? Right? Everyone's goal is, 25% of that. So something's got to change.
Yeah. What about, going outside the U.S.? Do you have plans for that?
So yes, we are currently, we filed our patent cooperation treaty, our PCT filing. So we're patent pending in 158 countries. And at this point, we're choosing which countries, but so we have our patent in the EU and the UK, and are just about there in Canada and Mexico. And then we're looking at where else we're going to go from there.
Oh, that's exciting. It's exciting. So let's finish up with just what would you say as an entrepreneur? I mean, you've both been doing this now for, like I said, since maybe over a year, right? Since March of 2020. What would you say is, let's say, the number one thing that drives you right now, that drives you to success, and that gets you up every morning ready to go, to perform, to make a difference and perform for your customers?
Well, I mean, Josh and I mean, this goes back to the beginning, but we started off, every day looking for, let's just get one win every day. And then it's turned into, we're getting more than one win a day. And you know what I mean? So then we're looking at, that's what keeps us going is that, the more that we get out there, and I mean, we can give our presentation, we can show people pictures, and everybody gets it, but there's still a question mark of how can you do it this fast? And then once they see it done, it's continually building on itself. And I feel like, that's the excitement of it, because we were so excited about the product and how it works. And then to see these construction crews equally excited it just keeps the drive going. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I think it's that aha moment when someone actually gets it, right? And that usually comes from a GC in the field once they install it and they say, that's it? We're done? I trained a crew in Louisiana, top-notch guys, and with 3 people, we built 3 foundations in a day and a half. And that was with me training them. So they were blown away. They like Kevin said earlier, they don't want to go back to the old way because they just did 3 in a day and a half. That would never happen. So it's that aha moment that you really solved someone's problem, or you made the pain go away, right? That's everything.
I love to hear the passion in your voice. It's just so exciting. I cannot wait to see what the two of you do with Helicore. How can the audience reach you? I'm sure there's people in the audience that are thinking, I want to hire these guys because I need help and they need to do this for me. So where could you be reached?
Yeah, website, www.helicore.co. You could also hit us up on LinkedIn. Kevin and I are both on there. So either or.
Okay, wonderful. This has just been a beautiful interview. I just love to, the story, right? The story from idea to making it happen and developing it, and now watching your success. And I'm sure it's an inspiration to all that are listening. So thank you so much for being on the show today. And I wish you all the success in the world. And I know I'm going to see you soon at ConnectX, right?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We get together again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Carrie.
You are so welcome. You take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to another informative episode of 5G Talent Talk, brought to you by RCR Wireless News, Telecom Careers, and Broadstaff Talent Solutions. As we advance into the future, we promise to bring you the resources you need to navigate this ever-changing landscape of 5G to help you attract, retain, and engage people in this new world of work. To access the show notes or leave a review, visit broadstaffglobal.com. Until next time.